So here's the bottom of the hood for the 63 Coupe de Ville. Now what you're looking at almost looks like gloss paint, especially down in those holes. As this dries, the whole thing is going to become very, very much satin. You can kind of see in places where the mirror reflection has already gone. And the nice thing about the satin is once it goes satin, it's going to hide a lot of little imperfections and stuff of that nature. And again, this is going to be under the hood. Cadillac had their black under the hood, which was, I mean, it might have looked good back in '63, but from what we could see of it, it was kind of not awesome. So once this dries, I think this will look good. It looks a little weird now because I painted it like 20 minutes, half an hour ago. We did 3 coats, and basically you do like a medium wet coat. I want to say full wet coat, but you don't want to go too crazy. And you can do 2 or 3 coats. It goes on pretty fat. The thing is, it'll go on a little bit bumpy, which you can see that a little bit. And it does suck down. Now keep in mind, the hood wasn't perfect. There could be a little bit of peel in the primer. We did go around and sand most of it out, but we're not overly worried about it. Again, because this will be like it's a satin black. You can see it here kind of, but it'll go so dull that it's almost a flat black. The only difference is you can wash it. So where I like to use this stuff, I mean, here we could have probably spray bombed or something, but this is a good finish. Now any bare metal showing through or anything, this stuff will take care of that. So that's kind of cool. And I didn't know that until not that long ago when I was reading the TDS sheet. When I first got this, my paint guy said, do this, put it on. Now what I normally use this stuff for, when you're doing the Mopars and stuff where you've got the decals, you know, and they're usually like they're never a glossy black. They're kind of a sticker black, which would be like a semi-gloss satin. I'll put this stuff on and it ends up looking like amazing. And a lot of guys can't tell if it's paint or a decal because it's almost too perfect. So on this, it's not going to be perfect, obviously. You can kind of see a little bit of waviness in there. That's from in the primer. When I hit that, it is what it is. Now, when we paint the hood red, I'm going to tape this little triangle here. And then we're going to come right inside that lip. And then we'll paint the top red and we'll catch that under edge. And that whole front will be red. Then this whole edge down here is all going to be red. We're just basically going from here in. We'll back tape. The outside is going to be metallic red. So might have to do like a short 2-second video or something later just to show you what it looks like when the whole thing flattens out. You can kind of see some areas are flattening out already. Now we did 3 coats. I went a little thick because it's what I had left. I had a little bit of this left over. We also did, if you go back, I did a '67 Camaro convertible where we painted the firewall and the whole underside of the car. And this is exactly what we put there. And the reason I like doing something like this on the bottom of a car, if a guy ever went in and scratched something up or modified something, or, you know, something happens under there, you can come in with basically a satin black spray bomb. And satin black, when you spray it on, it'll kind of blend in if everything else is satin black. So, you know, it'll just last longer simply because when it gets a little crappy here and there, stone chips, whatever, you can sort of touch it up. But at any rate, this is what we're going for underneath the hood. Some people would argue that that whole plate front section up there could be color. We're not going to worry about that at all. When the hood's up, it'll all be the same underneath. And again, we'll bring our tape right under this lip. So all that outward. I mean, there's obviously a trim that bolts on across this piece. But basically, from that lip outward will be red. We'll bring it down into here, and then all the way around here, down that side, then back tape from here. Same with the back. When we get to here, we'll run our tape on the inside edge here and then stick our paper. Of course, the hood will be, we'll flip the hood over then, and then we'll basically paper off the bottom side of the hood. You know, so we're not getting a pile of overspray or nothing. Usually I don't. I think because if you see where the hood is setting versus where my filter bank is, it's just low enough that it kind of seems to suck everything out. Nothing seems to come up. So for a cross draft style booth, my booth works pretty good. But I just wanted to touch on this because it's pretty neat. I never see anyone else doing it, at least not with this product. So let me show you what the product is. It's from Urki Systems. This is the stuff. If you can find a supplier near you that supplies it, it's pretty cool. My guy calls it besa. Urki System Line besa. So this would be, well, he puts hardener in here because he does his own labels or whatever. And that stuff is basically your color. So basically it's a 3 to 1 to 1. So you put 3 parts of this, 1 part that, 1 part of a really good high quality reducer. I'm not sure about the label here, but he tells me that this is UBT 500. We use a lot of that. So it's a middle to high end reducer, I guess. But it seems to work really well with this stuff. I've had no issues. So this is a pretty cool system. And again, you put it on, like, you know, medium to wet coats. I usually go 2. It goes on with a little bit orange peel in it, if you commit to that. And actually that's not true. It goes down pretty flat, but as you go across the hood and work your way to the other side, or your stripe or whatever you're doing, if you look back at what you'd done 30 seconds ago, you'll see it kind of lump up and go all orange peely. And then it sort of dries down. And then with the second coat, it does it a little bit again. So even like when you're doing a decal on a hood, you know, the bottom of a hood like we're doing today, you're probably not going to be overly worried. But when you're doing a decal and you see that it's all orange peely and bumpy, excuse me, it kind of makes you crazy. But give it a few hours and it seems to settle right down. But when you come out the next morning, it's as flat can be. It levels itself right down. And one thing I noticed on one car I did, there was a little bit of orange peel in the car, which I'd call like modern car factory orange peel. And I'm going to say Chevy truck and not Kia, because there is quite a difference in the two. So we did a car where the paint was fairly flat and little texture to it, but not a lot. Very, very minimal. It would have been an easy cut and buff job, but it was a car we weren't doing that to. And when we did the hood, after it had dried the black, I'm sure it must level itself or something when it shrinks down, because it was hard to tell, but it almost looked like this stuff went flatter than the hood that it was put on. So, I mean, and again, it could just be that it looks that way because of the satin finish, which makes it look really good. Now, when you catch this hood here, if you look down in this area where the light is shining right now, let me get you out of the light. There's little kinks and waves in the metal with the way it's stamped, so it's never going to be perfect. But as that flattens out, it'll look more and more professional. Like, it looks really good when it dries. It ends up being a really, really nice quality product. So anyway, you can kind of see the middle X there and what it's kind of doing. The light isn't as shiny. Now, the reason when you look in those, it looks shinier in there than those. I did my 2 coats, and then on the 3rd coat, I basically went around all the bracing first. Then I checked what was in the gun, and then I filled those in. The hood's not that big, so chasing the wet wasn't difficult. But that's why those look glossier. It's because the last coat went in those holes. So, but when you look down here, you can kind of see what's going on. You know, you've got a sheen, but not much of a shine, and that's what the whole thing is going to look like at a later time. And here, of course, you know, there's a little bit of bumpiness or whatever. We're going to be okay with that because it is what it is. So this is something that was not in great shape. You can't necessarily replace these hoods. They're hard to get. You come around this side, we had some pinholes up at the edge, And then down in here there was a couple places, so we had to weld a few of them shut. The metal was all nice and thick, so that was all right, but just a lot of crap would get in there in the back, do stuff. So we've got all that taken care of, and we're pretty happy with it. Yeah, she's starting to dull down here now, but it'll take quite a while to dull down all the way. So what I'll do, stay tuned for a video tomorrow, and I'll probably just do like a 60-second video, maybe as a short or something like that, just to show you what it looks like. But it's a really cool product. Go look it up, try it out, commit to like a medium wet coat, and then maybe like a little bit wetter on the second go. And like for decals, that's all you need. I've got a car that I'm working on in the not so distant future here. We're going to be painting the whole car out of this stuff, so that'll be pretty neat too. Anyway, it is what it is. Thanks for watching. Cheers.